Hey folks, how's it going today? Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, wherever you are. Today is December the 26th, so as you can imagine, the next little while of videos is going to be kind of a variety show of random topics, Patreon questions, whatever else is going on. Chris and I won't be likely in the shop together again until probably second week of January. Just the way the holidays are, how the days align. This enables us both to get a string of days off each and still cover the shop floor. So if you're craving, the two of us together, you may have to wait a little bit longer. Today's topic is going to be kind of another, I'm dipping into the well of Patreon questions today. Is kind of about, how do hobby stores pick different hobby supplies or things to sell? In this case, it's not just miniatures, but things like the brushes and the paints. So today I've got my sitting in front of my Artist Opus and other brush company. There's some more boxes down below. Products that we got. Shout out to our friend Kevin here who built these display boxes for us. Artist Opus, if you're listening, it would be really great if you sent these with the brushes. And anyway, we love you. Actually, first before I go in there, a little tangent. How about that Fulgrim model that GW showed off? Pretty cool. Don't know why we have two of the same guy. The forged one and the plastic one are basically the same model, but I think the plastic one is significantly bigger though. I've seen the forged demon one, and it's very nice mini, very elegant mini, but not as big as you think it is. The wingtips are what make it super big, but it's not really. Anyway, no, it's cool to see that. I'm glad that they saved the that one for the kind of Christmas reveal, rather than just a Sonic Marine or something. So anyway, get that out of the way. Pretty excited about that. Yeah, so a couple things when it comes to whatever the store carries, especially hobby supplies. It's like number one is going to be, where can we source it from? So that's kind of the number one thing with everything. Whenever someone comes in and says, can you get, you got any tooth and coats or, I don't know, I guess P3 is going to be coming up again soon. I don't know what other weird, less mainstream paints there are. Most of them are covered now, like Army Painter. I'll give you a list of ones that are easy to get. Army Painter, Vallejo, Citadel, obviously. You see those in most stores because they're relatively easy to get. Most of the big distributors carry them, or you're getting them from Games Workshop, and they're not super hard to stock a rack of it. There'll be the odd color and stuff that runs out and takes a while to get back. I know, obviously, we talked about Vallejo having a strike recently, which apparently has been resolved, so that's good. The rest are kind of relying on a more niche source. So for us, luckily here in Ontario, Canada, we have some good sources for things like AK, all of their products, the MIG products. There's like Abtelung is another, I don't know who they're lumped in with, who makes them, if they're their own company or if they're with MIG, I can't recall. So that's all pretty easy to get. But when you get into like the Scale 75s, Green Stuff World, maybe tooth and coats, you got to start these are our Artist Opus brushes. Like this is stuff I get directly from Artist Opus or Scale or whatever. So Monument Hobbies has gotten not too bad to get because they're North American based. So maybe it's the opposite for finally the Europeans suffer my pain. They might have to spend quite a bit extra to get some sort of paint. So we've been living with this for years. So yeah, so you can imagine for the average store that maybe what the average LGS is probably, doing Warhammer and Magic, and they're relying on those two pillars and getting things like pretty easily, not importing a lot of stuff. I think a shop like Chris and I's, or maybe a shop that does a lot of Gunpla, carries a lot of Tamiya products or Despair or whatever. Some of these other, some of these products, like that shop is like bringing that in, from out of the country, importing it in, and they're spending a lot to bring it. So if you ever wonder why that Scale 75, I don't know, metallic, got black metal, is just not coming back in a timely fashion. It's probably because that color's outsold the other colors like 5 times faster. Even though this is me telling a literal case study here, we'll order like 40 jars of this color, and it will sell through in a couple of months. Um, and they would, even if I got 100, I think they would still sell through many times faster. And then so by the time I get around to restocking, it's not enough. Like you need to cobble together an order that's full of all the other you get to a threshold to make the shipping and the import fees and customs fees like actually worthwhile. So they're not going to go and order an extra jar, 6 extra jars of black, and that's it. They're going to spend a few $1,000s and get a bunch of stuff. So that's a challenge. Sometimes it's not so bad because there's some new releases. So like if I'm ordering a scale product, they have scale 75, that is scale color. They have like a bunch of I think they sell some busts and figures, and they have chimera paints, and they have some tools and brushes. Like you can kind of like grabbing from all of those things, you can put that together and make it work. So that's kind of the first thought. Is how easy it is to get. And then if it's like Opus, for example, is like artist Opus is not super hard to get. I think you just get an account going with them. They're UK based. But again, to make it worthwhile, I actually don't remember. They probably see, it's been so many years. We've been carrying them like since they started. So we have a good relationship and been there a long time. But I feel like if I was in a new store, there's probably a minimum. They probably are like, you got to buy like 6 of everything, and including the big brush sets. And I don't know what the terms are. I'm making it up. I don't know. A lot of times, a new company, whether it's like a Warlord Games, even for miniatures, or a Mantic or something, they tend to have like, they want you to open with a proper order and not just go in to get one thing. They're like, yeah, I know you want this one model kit or this one really cool product we sell, but you got to like buy in a bit more. They want you to represent their company correctly and have a diverse collection of all the best things they sell and not just the single items. So that might be the case here. That might, Artist Opus might say, yeah, I know you really like the number 2 brush, but you can't just get those. Again, don't quote me on that, but that's kind of a hypothetical scenario that I've witnessed over the years with different companies and brands. So all of that kind of that's the first barrier. Like, how do we, why a store might be like, there's a lot of money, and I don't know if it's going to sell well, and maybe that's not their thing. So the other thing is, for Chris and I, and this is why our store is our specialty. Every store has an angle, whether that's their play space or kind of like how good their card showcase is, or maybe how big their selection is, or the price, or combination of all those things. I think what sets us apart, and maybe you get a taste of it when we showcase the armies. And this is not me trying to be full of myself, but we do Chris and I do paint a lot, and we do use all the products, so everything's kind of curated. Like, I always have the nice white handle Opus brushes because like that's the hot thing on the internet. Like, we use the products. I've got lots of them I've used over the years. I can point to examples in armies. Someone asked me what's the difference between the M and the S. I can tell you exactly why one is useful and why they exist next to each other. For example, only I could be so excited about the fact that the Series D here has a plus, as in they made another set of 5 sizes of brush that they finally gave me what I wanted, which is the extra small plus. So it's in between the extra small and the small, and I've been asking that for years. So thank God, it's like the best thing in the world. So I think it takes the right set of skills and people to sell those things effectively. It's not good enough just having on the website. For all the walk-ins and people that come in and ask us like tons of hobby questions. Like, I have lots of customers that come from all over, out of town, out of province. Like, I ship things all over. They'll call me. They'll come. If they do come in to visit, they have a billion questions. Like, how do I do this? How do I do that? I watched this video. Show me don't just show me the product, but give me the steps. And I think that sets us apart for sure. Just having used all the things, and I think it's good. Like, we have like we're blessed to have like beautiful armies on display. Chris and I have been privileged to spend so many years just painting all these armies and learning all these things. We've had To give you an idea, I mean, it depends like how into painting you are, but we've had some of the like some of these great European painters like come down. We've had them visit here because we had a painting club that uh, got in touch with these guys, and they, these is like imagine a club of people, basically putting down a bunch of money to get to fly an artist in to teach them over a weekend, and so there's like we'll get 15, 16 guys. They'll drop like $400, $500, $600 to get this someone in, and we've hosted them here. So I've had these like guys like Sergio Calvo Rubio. You might have seen some of his incredible minis online. He's won Gold Demons, etc., and Crystal Brushes, and so that's just like one guy. There's a few others that we brought in, and yeah, you get to see these guys and really like learn what they teach and get good ideas of how all the products can work together. So yeah, we can say we're a little bit into that. So again, if we're sticking to the topic of hobby supplies, I think it really, besides being the items being expensive, you have to also, to effectively sell them, you have to be able to like really give the differences and give examples and show why this thing is good versus another thing. Yeah, there's definitely I would say where the leading by example matters a lot. I find a lot of people that shop with us or participate in the hobby, they are conscious of the fact that like the product, the miniatures are, it's the idea that you bought these uh, costly miniatures, whether it's just a box of Space Marines or a large bust model or some kind of Titan, you're kind of like, I don't want to screw this up. So there's this like impetus to like do it the right way, um, and follow the guides and use the products correctly. So these customers, they don't want to just they might walk in and see, if they don't see that, they might see the product on the shelf, but even then they might look at it and be like, oh, I don't know, is this right? So we try and calm their nerves a bit and say it's fine, it's okay, we can show you how. We have examples. Here's some things that work. So the know-how matters, and I like to like, and another analogies would be like Chris. We always use the Chris music thing because he's big into his guitars and things. I think it's very similar. It's like if you're gonna spend X dollars on that, you're gonna want to go to a store where the guy knows, because ideally you would go to a store where the guy plays those guitars too, and can tell you, like, show you the why this more expensive string sounds better, and or maybe why, not even more expensive, why the string will sound different on different models of instrument because of whatever reason, whatever the material it's made out of, or how it reverberates or something like that. So we really try and do that whenever we make a decision to carry a product. It's often like we try the thing first. Like I'm often ordering one or two of something, of a new product, to be like, is this actually good, or what, so, or at the very least I need enough evidence to show me why. So that's why I have I don't know, 6 or 7 racks of paint now. It's definitely crazy and redundant, but the variety in this sphere is you can't underestimate how important it is to have that those extra things. People kind of walk in and they're immediately like, oh, these guys are serious. So that's worked out well. But yeah, so a lot of tough decisions. There's I've passed on some things. Like I haven't actually, Tooth and Coats is one product I don't have yet, and I've probably nothing to do with it. It's probably very good. I feel like the average quality of the commercial hobby paint has gotten so much higher than it used to be. You used to mostly buy the Citadel or Vallejo, or not just because it was easy to get, because it was kind of the best product for the use case, but kind of like how models are being kickstarted and printed or whatever. I feel like all these artists are able to get their own paint lines, or partner with a paint company. So I feel like the paint companies have definitely bought in and said, yeah, we can make like Monument Hobbies is excellent at this, at making up getting new shades of colors for the, like there's like an Adepticon paint set, and there was a popular what is it, Nova's an event in Washington DC, I think, every August, and there's like an orange color they got them to make, which was kind of cool. So yeah, that's another big one. Yeah, I think it's important that you when you make those decisions, you get things that you can sell. So I could see a store that again maybe the people running it are more gamers, or maybe they don't paint as much, or they don't know as much. They just kind of like do the quick and dirty, or they know a little bit. Maybe they painted a couple models or an army before. They may not want to sink that much cash into something that they're just not sure about, and just like certain miniatures or games or board games that you buy too many of, if you buy the wrong thing and you don't know how to sell it, it'll be a heavy bag. The whole entire hobby industry is just various types of heavy bags, and and figuring out how to move them, because nothing is very rarely, only a couple times a year do you have a product that is like so hot that it will just by existing in your store sell through, and you have to seize those opportunities. So right now, in the hobby supply realm, you've got the various Harder and Steenbeck airbrushes which we carry. So they've done they've remodeled all their tiers of airbrush. So the new one was the Infinity that we will get probably next month. Um, that that's a thing. If I get some copies of it, that'll sell no problem. I'm not scared of that, even though it's quite expensive per unit. And there's also a thing, got to be careful, because even like the miniatures in the games, they will kind of hobby supplies are a little safer because they're kind of evergreen. They're kind of, once they're good for a while. But there's also, outside of a few brands, there's a bit of for example, if I brought in Tooth and Coats, I have a real worry that once, like, because now I'm like I'm adding another rack of paint that is I would say its main strength is the branding. Like, it's probably not bringing anything super new to the market, in my opinion. It's probably in the same solid level of all the other top brands. It's got its unique colors, but you probably have some guys that will try it just because they like Duncan, or because it's a new paint, new colors. But then you have a pile of existing people that are like already used to their Valeos or their AKs or their Citadels. They're not necessarily going to switch right away. So I feel like you bring in Tooth and Coats, and maybe I'm not picking on them on purpose. I'm just as an example. I feel like I may have like some people that are like buy it in, come excitedly come and buy it up because they've been asking for it, and then kind of once they get it, no one else cares. Like, this is a thing that can happen when you go a little too deep. So things to consider. So if I look around what I have in the store, I would say the last major new paint line I brought in was actually, other than Army Painter, but I'm gonna asterisk that for a second. It was probably Monument Hobbies, and that kind of was, they had built up enough steam, and there's enough uniqueness to them that I was like, okay, they got their like marketing, they got their big, they're not just tall jars, they're like 22 mils, they like a lot of paint, and their whole thing's about the opacity and how well they cover. I saw a lot of qualities there that I'm like, okay, you're unique enough that it makes sense. Something like Army Painter and Fanatic, or their Speed Paint. Well, Army Painter's been like in hobby stores for so long that it's kind of more of like it's kind of more like a new release, of something that people are familiar with rather than a new thing. And then things like Tooth and Coats are actually behind me. You can kind of see it over there. I've got scale drop paint. So that's an interesting story there, and it's a good example of how not everything succeeds so easily. So scale 75 or scale color, whatever you want to call them. They've been one of the interesting companies that does hobby Kickstarters. So they'll make up a new type of paint. They've done it with their instant colors, which was like their contrast paint, and their smooth artist, which is their like heavy body tube paint, and now they've drop paint, which is their airbrushable straight out of the jar in your airbrush. And I'm gonna preface and say it's actually really awesome. If you haven't come across it, give it a go. I need to make more tutorials. I don't think there's enough tutorials, and that's a whole other topic of how I wish they spent a little more energy on that, but on the marketing side. But it's kind of like, it's another paint line that its main thing is it's good for airbrushing, but like, because it was kickstarted, a bunch of people like bought in early and got like all the paints they would ever need. They got like the entire range, or box sets for a great deal. And kind of everyone who wanted it got it, and now it's we got the retailer pledge, which was a really good deal, admittedly. So I don't feel too bad about that heavy bag, because I paid such a good price for the entire rack. But yeah, I thought like, well, there's not a lot of airbrush ready paint in the market. We should have some, we have some game air, and we thought drop paint would be good to have. And yeah, it's been a bit of a dud from a pure sales perspective. That being said, everyone that I've convinced to use it comes back and says it's awesome. Yeah, it's what makes it kind of special is they've added. I guess they've taken a lot of times when we thin our airbrush paint, we might add some retarder or flow improver so it doesn't clog. And clogging is like the biggest barrier to airbrushing. It's like we'll just kibosh your whole day if your airbrush is clogging too much. So the drop paint is designed to have all that ready mixed so that your airbrush does not clog. And from using it's true. It really does. The color swapping is really easy. The retarder does mean it doesn't really tip dry. It doesn't really clog. The cons are that you have to shake it like a ton. It separates so much. So if you can bear them, get your vortex mixer out or whatever. There are agitators in the jars, and it does take a little longer to dry. So you'll notice when you spray it, your model will look kind of wet for more than 2 minutes. It might take 5 or 10 minutes, but yeah. But then it's it's on. It looks great. Colors are vibrant. They look good. So yeah, a lot of decisions go into the hobby supply thing. But if I had to distill it down to one thing, other than how niche each thing is, because some of these hobby supplies get like super specific, like I don't know. I've got some like I don't know if it's back here, some AK chrome, like super chrome paint. Like you want to make your piece of your model look like as like a spoon or something, like a piece of utensil that's been polished. But there's a few guys are gonna occasionally throughout the year be like, I need this really specific thing, and that's so you can make tough choices there. But number one, it has to work well, and that's I think where Chris and I's expertise are a big advantage, because we can use the thing and right away say, oh, this is good, or no, this is rubbish. How easy it is to get, how much you can carry of it that makes sense. That's another thing. Bringing in a little is also like it's like bringing in. It's like if a paint range is 80 colors and you're like, I got to bring 25. Like that's just not going to work, right? So yeah, a lot of stuff comes into play. So again, I think that's similar to the miniatures, but I think on the hobby supply front, it can be really, and also the way these products sell, it tends to be, it's not bursty like a hot new card game or Magic release, or whenever the new Fulgrim comes out, where you're just like, doing this, and you're like, whenever I get my 2 copies, the GW will cap me. I don't know, I'm joking. It'll probably be 1 or 2 copies. I don't know. That you'll sell those that weekend, and life will be good. But all these boxes, all these paints, like brushes, I might spend. I don't know. I'm gonna make up number 5 grand, and it might take 6 months or maybe longer to sell through all of those to where I can say, yes, I made my profit on that. So and yeah, so it's stuff like that. So anyway, I hope you don't mind my 24-ish minutes of hobby supply rambling. This probably get not very many views because it was on a sensational topic, but I think it's important that we address the Patreon questions and give you guys those little insights so you can listen to me while you're painting and learn a thing maybe. Of course, big thanks to everyone who has been supporting us, from Chris and I. It's been pretty awesome. I did not imagine a year later, and then when we started this, that it would even look like this at all. I'm always absolutely blown away by the sheer number of comments that we'll generate on videos. It's absolutely. I'm like, this many people are taking time out of their day to type up some response. It's usually something crazy because we've put up a topic, like I've attacked people about their about when I'm shilling for GW or whatever. But no, it's definitely motivated us to keep making content. So like I said, the next week or two will be little bits and bobs of whatever Chris and I can think of at the day. I wanted to release this video earlier, but the day was just too busy. It's Boxing Day here. So people are coming in with their Christmas cash and just putting huge holes in my Space Marine shelf and buying airbrushes and all kinds of stuff. So it's been good. It's why I look a bit tired. Can't complain. So anyway, until next time, see you later.